over in San Francisco, so keep an eye out for more of her adventures. But for now, we're back in Sydney in the Better Reading office chatting with Lauren Sams, author of the hilarious and highly relatable Crazy Busy Guilty. Hi Lauren.
Hi.
So, some readers might have met the characters in your first novel, She's Having Her Baby. But for those who haven't met new mum Georgie, her best friend Nina, and little Pippa yet, tell us more about them and their story.
Well, first, thank you for having me, everyone, and I'm very excited to be chatting to the Better Reading community. I'm a member of the Facebook group, and I'm really, really excited to be talking to you guys today. So, She's Having Her Baby was about Georgie, who is in her mid-30s, very adamant that she doesn't want to have children. You know, like a lot of women, she doesn't really see them fitting into her life and doesn't really see that she's the kind of person who, you know, would feel comfortable having children and raising them. And then her best friend Nina, who is sort of on the other end of the spectrum and is quite desperate to have a child, says to her, "Will you be my surrogate?" And Georgie's quite drunk at that time, and they've been out and they've had quite a lot of Sauv Blanc, and she says yes. And then she wakes up the next morning and thinks, "Oh my god, what have I done? I haven't really thought this one through." And so the novel is about, the first novel is about the relationship between Georgie and Nina after Georgie agrees to take on that role for Nina. And it's kind of tricky to talk about She's Having Her Baby and talk about Crazy Busy Guilty because it's a bit of a spoiler. In She's Having Her Baby, Georgie actually falls pregnant with her own baby. And, you know, that's where sort of the drama comes from there. So in Crazy Busy Guilty, we meet Pip, who is Georgie's baby, and Georgie is really having a tough time, you know. She's sort of thrust into motherhood quite unprepared, and she feels like all these other mums who she meets, you know, through mothers groups or through her daughter's daycare, really, you know, it feels like they've studied for years and years and years. And she has no idea what to do. So they're all talking about like these toys like Sophie the Giraffe, or like these books that they've read, or, you know, baby sleep whisperers that they're following their routines, and Georgie's like, "What? I have no idea what you're talking about." And so she feels very confronted. She has no idea, you know, about all those sort of little things that everyone else seems to have, you know, the language for, and she really doesn't. So she decides that it'd be much easier to go back to work. And of course, it's not really that easy to go back to work.
Spoiler alert, it's not.
Spoiler alert, yeah, it's really not. And that's where the drama of the book comes in. So she's sort of really wondering what to do, you know, with this baby who she has to care for 24/7, and also her career, which she really loves quite genuinely, and wants to work hard at. But, you know, she's also up against these, you know, quite massive odds. You know, this boss who doesn't really believe in work-life balance. You know, that's kind of a nice phrase to put on the HR pamphlet, and that's about it. And yeah, that's Georgie and Pip, and poor Nina, who didn't have her baby, is now separated from her husband and is enjoying a bit of dating, especially younger men.
We're going to get to Nina in a minute, don't worry. So the book sort of destroys that idea of the sort of picture-perfect parent that we see on social media. How do you think the rise of the Instagram perfect mum has created more pressure on modern mothers?
I think this is a really real thing. You know, I used to work in magazines, and I still write for a lot of magazines, but I have heard the criticism many, many times, you know, that magazines foster this idea that, you know, of like a perfect body and things like that. I think the new medium that really fosters this image of perfection is Instagram. And I think that it's really, you know, it's really difficult to get a proper snapshot of what a person's life is like, you know, from one picture. And yet, you know, I think we do buy into this idea of, you know, these, not just, you know, people who are professional mummy bloggers or, you know, people who do this for a living, but, you know, just our friends and family, you know, posting these perfect pictures of their children, you know, doing perfect things, you know, learning French, or, you know, eating some like organic food, you know, that their mother has just made for them or something like that. And I think it sets up this idea that that's what everyone's life is like all the time. And I really, you know, I don't think that's true. And I know it's not true because, you know, I have a child and, you know, they're not all like that. You know, if you looked at my Instagram, I mean, you know, I'm a liar as well. If you looked at my Instagram, you would think that, you know, my child is like, you know, this perfect angel who never sass talks me, or, you know, you would think that she is just, you know, she is delightful, but she's not, you know, incredibly delightful 24/7. And, you know, she has her moments, and we all do. And I think that Instagram is one of those things, and, you know, and Facebook to a lesser extent, that sets up this idea that motherhood and children can be perfect. And I think that that is, you know, can be quite dangerous, because, you know, if you're having a tough time as a mum and you look at this sort of stuff and you think, well, you know, I'm not doing that with my child, if it's, you know, learning French numbers or something, or my child doesn't do that yet, or, you know, my child doesn't sleep through the night or anything like that, it can really set up this, I don't know, this kind of terrible comparison. And, you know, at best, you know, it's something that you sort of laugh at and scoff at and move on. But I think at worst, it sort of, it can really feed into some postnatal depression. And, you know, that's quite, you know, on the other end of the spectrum. But I think that, you know, we could all do with a little bit more reality on social media. So if you want to post a picture of your child throwing up or something like that, that'd be great.
Much more realistic expectations.
Much more realistic. Way grosser. Just disgusting.
Post a picture like, my kid threw up on me, but it wasn't one of my good shirts, so we're fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hashtag goals. Yeah.
So how closely does Georgie's experiences sort of reflect yours? Are there similarities between you and Georgie, or?
There are some similarities. I mean, I feel like I, you know, was quite unprepared for motherhood. I remember going to like mothers groups and everyone spoke that language. You know, they knew the baby whisperers and they knew the foods and the toys, and they seemed to know these things like off by heart, like, oh, you can give a 4-month-old 3 meals of Panadol, you know, every 4 hours. And I was like, I'm like checking the back of the packet every single time. And they all just seemed so prepared, and, you know, like they'd studied for years and years. And, you know, I later found out that, you know, many of them had. Many of them were in Nina's case, you know, where they, you know, had gone through, you know, experience with infertility and things like that. And so they really had been studying for years and years. But it didn't make me, I don't know, it made me feel, I guess it made me feel unprepared, you know, when I heard them talk about all this stuff. And, you know, everyone starts talking about, you know, like the baby sleep through the night, and like, oh, kill me. You know, no one wants to have that conversation, unless your baby is sleeping through the night, so I don't want to talk to you. But yeah, I mean, my experience is somewhat mirror Georgie's, but more to the point, my experience with my career mirrors Georgie's. So, you know, I worked at this office where, you know, the onus was very much on the hours spent at the office and the FaceTime and all that sort of stuff, rather than, you know, just the work that was getting done. And I really wanted to talk about that in the book, because I spoke to a lot of mothers who had a similar experience, and fathers in fact, had a similar experience with, you know, employers who on paper were meant to be all about work-life balance and very family-friendly, but in reality didn't really believe in any of that stuff, and, you know, weren't happy to let people go, you know, at 5 o'clock or 5:30 when they're meant to go home, and that sort of stuff, or, you know, weren't happy to let them have the morning off to take their child to, you know, a vaccination appointment, you know, something that they actually need to do. And I really wanted to explore that through fiction, because I think that a lot of people can relate to that, and I think that it's, you know, that is really something that needs to change.
Yeah. So we've touched on this a little, but so Georgie has to kind of reinvent and reconsider how she sees herself and who she is as a person after her baby, but so does Nina,
Yes.
who's coming out of, what, a 17-year marriage and finding that the dating world is quite different to the one that she left.
Yeah, so yeah, the last time Nina dated, it was very, very different. So Nina is, you know, is also in her mid to late 30s, and she's been married for a long time. She's been in a relationship with the same person for, you know, a while before that. He was her high school sweetheart, and yeah, now she's dating again. She's sort of quite excited about it, but technology has really changed. So she's, you know, she's on Tinder and things like that. She's quite excited to date a few younger men, one younger man in particular. And what I wanted to do with Nina, you know, I was thinking about, you know, if this was me, you know, how would I react to this? And I guess I would want to just change everything about myself, you know. If I was chasing this one thing, you know, having a baby for such a long time, and then I realised that it probably wasn't going to happen, or it wasn't going to happen the way that I thought it was, I'd really want to make some big changes and try to get away from that as much as possible. And Nina does that. She starts dating this younger guy who's all about his like kombucha and craft beer, and he's a bit of a hipster, and he lives on the Northern Beaches in this.
It's too real for me.
This house that his parents own, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit too real. and she's talking about, maybe I'll go for a late gap year, and maybe I don't want to be a teacher anymore. And to Georgie, who's hearing all this, Georgie's like, what? This is ridiculous. This is not really you. But to Nina, she really needs to make those changes and, figure out what she wants to do next, because what she wanted to do isn't going to happen for her. And so she needs to, figure out what is next for her. And I think that's, again, something that, a lot of people who, whether their struggle is infertility or, something different, I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to.
And sort of one of her first steps in this new Nina is to get on Tinder.
Yeah.
So how do you think things like dating apps have changed the landscape of dating and how we go about finding a partner?
Well, it was quite funny because as I was researching the book, I knew that Nina would have to be using dating apps and that sort of thing. But I've been married for 6 years, and so I have never used a dating app because, we didn't have them 6-7 years ago.
It's right pretty quickly.
Yeah. And so I had to call my husband and say, I'm signing up to Tinder, but it's only for research. So luckily he's very understanding about all of that sort of stuff. But so I was quite confronted. I was like, oh gosh, and scrolling through, and it was kind of, exciting.
It feels like a game.
It did feel very much like a game, yeah. And I could definitely see how someone could be, what the appeal of it is, I suppose. And, on Nina's behalf, I got quite excited for her, yeah.
So now that you're back off Tinder.
Yeah, I'm not on Tinder anymore, sorry guys.
What's up next for you? Are you working on another book? Or?
Yes, so I'm writing another book at the moment, which is a little bit different to She's Having a Baby and Crazy, Busy, Guilty, but I hope that when it's ready for you guys that you'll enjoy reading it. It doesn't have a title yet, I can't tell you much about it. It's not
but
a great answer, but it exists in some form, and I'm quite excited to show everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So guys, if you want to know more about Lauren or Crazy Busy Guilty, head to our website, betterreading.com.au. Thank you, Lauren, for coming in and chatting with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Better Reading.
Thanks, guys. All right. Okay. We're having a couple of little tech things. There's no... That's all good, so just bear with us, guys. What else? So what are you up to for the weekend? You're heading down to Melbourne without
child.
Yeah. Yes. That's okay. It's good to have, time without kids as well as time with kids.
Absolutely, yes.
So guys, Lauren has a very adorable little one.
Yes.
Who you won't see picture-perfect pictures of on social media, or you will?
I'm trying not to do that anymore.
Okay guys, just bear with us because having a couple of issues.